Have you ever felt a moment repeat itself? As if time paused, rewound, then played again, just slightly different. This isn't just déjà vu. This is a story of loops, choices, and the edges of reality. Welcome to a quiet corner of science, fiction, where time doesn't just pass, it watches. This is Fragments of Time Deja Vu. In the stillness of the Pacific Northwest, where towering pine trees sway like silent watchers of time, a cabin rests alone, tucked away beneath a canopy of moss and memory. Inside, warm lamplight flickers against shelves of well-worn journals and humming machines. This is where Dr. Elise Morgan works, quietly, endlessly, beneath the hush of dusk. Outside, a fine mist settles on the forest floor. Inside, Elise leans over a screen glowing soft blue, eyes tired but curious. Tonight, like every night before, she reviews her data. Calculations on temporal layering, notes scribbled with thoughts too vast for words. But then, something flickers. Not an error, not noise, a glimpse, a fragment. An image of a moment she hasn't lived. A street lamp in the rain, a train pulling away, her own hand reaching for something not there. It vanishes in an instant, and yet it feels familiar. Like a memory from a dream she can't quite place. She sits back. The trees sway outside, just as they always do. And yet, something in the air has shifted. Somewhere in the quiet folds of time, tomorrow has whispered her name. The morning arrives wrapped in fog. The same pine trees, the same wooden steps creaking beneath her boots. Everything feels just as it should. And yet, Elise pauses. A drop of coffee spills exactly where she dreamed it would. The phone rings, and she already knows who's calling. A voice she hadn't expected. A message she hasn't heard before, but already knows by heart. She doesn't speak, just listens. Because she's lived this, not yesterday, not before, but somewhere else, somewhere in time's mirror. Deja vu, the mind would say. A trick of memory. But this is something deeper. The moments come with texture, with sound, with feeling too real to dismiss. She walks through the forest path behind the cabin, watching the way the light falls through the leaves, each shadow already known. Her journal lies open on the desk when she returns, its pages turned by a breeze from nowhere. On the page, a note she doesn't remember writing. It's starting again. Elise closes the journal. Outside, the wind picks up, and the static from her lab speakers begins to hiss softly, like time itself is trying to speak. She listens, and deep inside, something listens back. Night returns like a familiar lullaby. Clouds drift over the stars, and the cabin breathes in rhythm with the forest. Elise sits at her desk, a dim light casting long, thoughtful shadows across the floor. She flips through her journal, marking each moment that came before it happened. A torn shoelace, a flash of lightning, the scent of oranges on a stranger's coat. Each fragment, a piece of something larger, unseen, unfolding, a pattern, not random, not coincidence, but a map of time folding in on itself. She begins to trace it. Circles, symbols, connections scribbled in ink and intuition. The experiment? Her quantum loop generator. It was meant to measure perception. It wasn't meant to activate. And yet, it did. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, like a ripple in a still lake that never stops expanding. Elise feels it in her skin, the rhythm of repeated moments, the way the world winks at her with familiarity, a flash, a dream, her hands reaching for a lever, then silence. Her notes pulse with meaning now, lines and loops like a symphony she's only beginning to hear. The machine didn't break time, it opened it, and somehow she's inside the echo. She wakes to birdsong, the kind she's heard before. But not yesterday, not today. A day that shouldn't be again. The sunlight falls through the curtains just as it did 3 days ago. The mug on her table is unwashed again. The logs beside the fireplace are stacked the same way, untouched. Her equipment is as it was. The machine's display reads 0. The journal pages are blank. Only Elise remembers. The days have reset, not with violence, but with a gentle rewind, like a film rolling backwards, soft and seamless, erasing the edges of time. She moves through the cabin, each room whispering déjà vu in a language she now understands. The way the clock ticks a second too long. The reflection in the mirror that doesn't quite follow. The faint scent of ozone in the air, like the echo of electricity. Outside, the trees are still. The path she walks has her footprints, already there. Time has unraveled and wrapped her in its looping rhythm. She's no longer a watcher. She's become part of the cycle. A constant return. A gentle cage. A moment stretched like thread, pulling her back again and again. And the loop is only getting stronger. Days pass, or seem to. Time no longer moves forward. It folds in strange, uncertain ways. Elise begins to see moments that never belonged to her. A shattered glass on the floor, her coat draped over the wrong chair, an entry in her journal written, in her own hand, but in words she doesn't remember thinking. She watches a recording from the night before. The screen shows her, standing motionless in the lab. But she was asleep, wasn't she? These aren't memories. They're echoes. Phantoms of timelines running parallel, crossing briefly, then vanishing again. She stands in the woods at dusk. The breeze carries fragments of sound. A voice that almost sounds like her own, calling out from somewhere deeper in the trees. She doesn't answer. She only listens. Dreams become heavier now. She walks through cities she's never visited. She watches stars die in reverse. She sees herself alone in the cabin, watching time collapse into itself like folding paper. And when she wakes, she feels no fear, only familiarity, as if she's lived all this before, and perhaps will again. There are versions of Elise, trapped in corners of time she cannot reach. But one by one they are leaving her breadcrumbs. Moments she doesn't remember living, but can no longer ignore. In the still hours before dawn, Elise finds herself standing before the machine. It hums quietly, as if aware of her presence, as if it too has been waiting. Everything has led her here. The phantom moments, the rewinds, the fragments of forgotten timelines. She knows now. This loop is not a malfunction. It's a question, a choice. Each time she neared this moment, something shifted. A step taken differently. A hesitation, a breath, and time responded, rewinding, resetting, as if urging her to decide correctly. The machine was never just observing time. It was tethering it, binding her to one pivotal decision, a fork. End the loop, and break whatever thread binds her to this labyrinth of echoes. But in doing so, she may lose the visions, the knowledge, the versions of herself she's met in dreams, or remain, continue the cycle, a watcher of time, a prisoner to the echo. Always remembering what hasn't happened. The sky outside rumbles. Lightning dances across the horizon. Silent in the distance, the choice waits. And time holds its breath. The switch is cold beneath her fingers. She hesitates for just a moment, then presses it down. The machine sighs. Not a bang, not a spark, just light, soft and golden, spilling across the room like sunrise. Her thoughts begin to dissolve, not lost, but folded gently into something bigger. When Elise opens her eyes, the world is still. The loop has ended, or begun. The cabin remains. The mist rolls across the forest floor. The trees whisper, as they always have. But something is different. She breathes in, and the air tastes like new beginnings. Clean, quiet, unwritten. Her journal lies open on the table, a single line written in a hand she doesn't quite remember. You chose. Outside, the sky brightens. A bird sings a song she's never heard. The moment is unfamiliar. And that, at last, feels right. In some other thread of time, perhaps she still wanders the loop, still listening, still remembering futures that never came. But here, now, she is free, and somewhere, deep within the folds of time, tomorrow whispers once more, waiting to be remembered.